Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language and adult themes.
Thank you, Commander 401, for that.
Yep. Yeah, Commander 401 has created an animated avatar for me. Although I will add to that on this one that while there will be adult themes here, there will also be some themes here that it would really be good for people to discuss with children.
Well, but you might turn them gay if you do that, you know.
No, it won't, though. It's okay.
It does too.
It does.
Well, so today we are talking about what has it done to society since gay marriage became legalized.
Do you want to
I
start
wish
with
I could say it's made it kinder, but really it's just driven the people opposed to it into an absolute frenzy of hatred.
No, it hasn't. No, the
Well,
propaganda.
that's kind of the kickback thing of it.
The propaganda machine that was built specifically to get us is what's responsible for getting us. Okay, if you look at studies and things that have been done since gay marriage was enacted or approved, I guess is the better word, is that there's no net change at all. Just there isn't any. Just like we all predicted, it's not going to change nothing, and it hasn't.
Oh, there's changes.
Not much. Nothing that's really
I've
important.
got an article from Newsweek here that I'll go through real quick.
Oh, okay, you can bring that up. I'll bring the.
Yep. It says, despite the arguments against equal marriage, legalizing the marriage of same-sex couples has had no negative impact on the rates of that among different sex couples. In fact, there was no effect on the rates of marriage or divorce among different sex couples. Legalizing same-sex nuptials has led to a slight increase in marriage overall.
I think it's been positive. It has been positive for marriage. You know, it has absolutely been positive towards.
That's the next paragraph here is saying legalizing same-sex marriage has also resulted in several positive impacts on society.
Yeah.
These include improved physical health for LGBTQ plus individuals.
I've got a link to go in more detail on that.
Yep. Actually, fewer hate crimes and increased state-level adoption rates of marriage. I would assume that the improvements on physical health probably have to do with that, being able to get health insurance for your same-sex partner.
Yes, that's a big reason. Want me to get into that since we're kind of touching on that?
It also
okay,
could be
go ahead.
Part of the reduction in certain venereal diseases, although they're back on the rise now.
See, we have here basically what it found is there an emerging body of literature and positive association between legal same-sex marriage and improved health outcomes. Now they do state that this isn't definitive, but they cover what we just mentioned. The access to coverage is one big thing. Getting to it, 2010 study of couples in the state. He published in Health Affairs found that gay men in relationship were less than half as likely as married heterosexuals will meant to receive coverage to their partner as employer or lesbian relationship. It's compared even worse. So that was something that got changed over time with the introduction of same-sex marriages. Beyond the coverage, not only did Hopkins save money in his house plan, he's experiencing a reduction in anxiety because he no longer had to rely on insurance purchase through the marketplace center under the Affordable Care Act, or given in the Republican House to repeal the law. Moreover, Hopkins has been isn't surprisingly he's another change since his wedding. And I didn't think I'd feel differently after I got married, but I do. So as Hopkins, who still lives in Louisiana, and it took a while to get used to saying husband, and very specific. It's legal relationship didn't have before, and it sounds like I'm settling. And basically, he basically is an anxiety reliever for this person, and talking about it, and between not only having the health care but other factors as well, which probably get into the emerging research here. It's also one of the early studies were published in 2004 in the journal Family Psychology. The authors reported that gay men in Vermont who were in civil unions were closer into the biological families compared to peers who were not in civil unions. Among lesbians, those in civil unions were more open about their sexual orientation than others. So again, and people who are in relationships, or in this case, this is before the same-sex marriage. So same-sex marriage or even unions, and it's proved to be beneficial in the person being able to feel more or open about who they are. Again, reducing anxiety. So
I like Clement Green's question. Can a gay Mormon have 4 husbands?
Oh, I missed that one. Yeah.
Depends on what they cost. I would be curious as to if the wedding industry felt any rise of any sort.
I'd imagine they would.
I've always had the feeling that the wedding industry was kind of behind legalizing gay marriage because they knew they'd cash in on it.
That'd be interesting.
Well, I know of one photographer in Kentucky that is not on that side because she has asked Kentucky for the right to be able to refuse to do photography for same-sex weddings, and that's currently under litigation. I've been kind of following that case, and I wanted to make a video about it, but that one seems to kind of stalled out. It hasn't really done anything in about the last 6 months.
She probably thinks that you may kiss the spouse is icky.
Probably.
Yeah, it's just icky.
Well, we had that whole big thing about the baker refusing to make a cake for a gay wedding, and
Right.
yeah, I don't see how things like that, get through the Civil Rights Act, because how is that any different than if somebody claimed that because of their religion they couldn't make a cake for a black couple?
Or I'm opposed to the Mormon religion. I think it's sacrilegious, so I won't make a cake for a Mormon couple, Yeah, you can't do that.
Who's asking? Chris Moore? Yes, that's exactly what gay marriage is all about. Or actually, better said, the right to marriage, if you will. Normal lives would be including things like my spouse that I've been with for 30 years, but we're not married, is deathly ill, and the hospital won't let me visit them because we're not married. And when the person dies, because we're not married, I have no rights to inherit any of the things that I bought with my spouse.
No, and since I have something I can add to that. Well, my uncle on my dad's side, who was the oldest of the 3, he was gay, and he had a partner, and he had to do all sorts of legal rigmarole to be able to get his partner to be able to have all these rights and stuff. So it was a lot that had to go into getting very similar rights to what if you could have just gotten married.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and I had
I mean,
the personal nightmare of dealing with that just because my fiance died before we got married, and that yeah, the moment they pronounced her dead, I had no legal right. The doctors at the hospital were legally not even allowed to tell me what the cause of death was.
The legal issues of the people that are refusing to perform services of some nature or another, like making a cake or building a website. That particular case was utterly faked because the ostensible plaintiff, this case went before the Supreme Court. The ostensible plaintiff didn't even have a business and wasn't even doing websites, but yet the court insisted on hearing the case and basically said, "Yeah, you can refuse to do that for a same-sex wedding." That's kind of what I meant about it's great, and changed the it has changed the way people look at queer couples in a positive way. But there's this legacy of I gue- of hatred, I guess, that is still extant and is still being pushed forward in law, and that's scary.
That kind of gets into this one in like I had up in a moment before about 6 in 10 Americans say legalization of same-sex marriage is good for society, and this is from 2022. So about 6 in 10 adults, 61% express a positive view of the impact of same-sex marriage being legal, including 36% who say it is very good for society, roughly 4 in 10 and have a negative view, 37%, and with 19% saying it's very bad.
What percent?
19% saying it's very bad.
Really? Wow. That's a whole bunch of percentage of idiocy between between the very bad and the bad. Jesus.
But
Just
that's
makes me sick.
but still it's overall positive though.
Oh yeah, it is. But can you think of anything else that big a chunk of people hate that is travels through society with freedom and lack of concern for what's going to happen or that it's
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I can think of a number of things.
you're always going to have a segment like that who just thinks that allowing any minority rights is somehow going to be a negative for them.
well, it is. They can't yell at them anymore.
Well, that's also the same percentage of young earthers. And I suspect that it's pretty much the same people.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I would expect that it's evangelicals.
Mm-hmm. Which is why we've got to keep pounding that the young earth idea is dead and gone. I mean, it just is absurd.
Well, yeah, you can go back, the Chinese kept meticulous records, and there isn't anywhere that they recorded an interruption in their dynasties.
One of the things that this propaganda machine has brought us in the fight for rights for people. It's one thing you notice when they scream and yell about trans stuff is they all use the exact same words and definitions and problems and pseudo statistics, and I mean precisely exactly the same as each other. And it's pretty easy to tell that the only thing these people know is what they've picked up in some echo chamber.
Yeah.
And now I think we're starting to get some of that politically, not out in real life, but politically, that there's rumblings from the right that they want to end gay marriage, and they're not being shy about it. They're going after it.
Oh, no question about it. But
There's
you
a
know,
lot of things
these
they
are
question.
also, yeah, these are also the same people who are saying that women shouldn't have the right to vote.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. You'd mentioned that because I was just looking at another Pew Research that it was looking at the right to vote, and there's still work to do in gender equality. He says,
Yeah.
but interestingly enough, if the people who say, "Oh no, there's no discrimination in hiring, promoting education opportunities," is 19%.
Yeah, so
You
we
know,
pretty much are getting the same group of people for all this stuff, it sounds like.
yeah, and it's the same group of people. It's that group of people.
Yay, religion.
It's that group of people. It's Jerry Falwell. It's the moral majority. That's from July 1983.
Well, he's been dead for a
You
long
know,
time.
he has, but his kid isn't. His kid's still carrying on. So is Franklin Graham. So are all those guys.
I think it's,
Look at the names. Bob Jones University. You know, it's like same people.
I think it's funny that they're all wearing masks and now they're so opposed to masks.
Isn't it just?
Mhm.
Well, they're opposed to masks except when they're stomping around in front of a Capitol building with guns.
Mhm.
Then they're all wearing masks. But anyway, the Newsweek article was also saying that researchers analyzed the results of nearly 100 studies investigating the impact of same-sex marriage and found that after states legalized it, marriage rates increased at a greater rate than could be explained by same-sex ones. That new marriages increased between 1 and 2% among different sex couples and about 10% across all couples. So
Sounds like
rather than actually reducing the, conventional marriage, they actually had more people getting married.
Sounds like this Newsweek thing has a little bit different information than I had in the one I had. So, want me to pull that up?
That one they were saying was basically a composite of the statistics from 100 different studies.
This is going over the history of it.
And hello to Lone Wanderer.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, sorry guys, I'm still cooking dinner. It's been a crazy day, but I wanted to step in and say hi.
Yeah,
Hi, Lone.
appreciate
Hello.
you popping in.
I tell you, it's been a clusterfuck of a day.
Okay,
Well, we're
Nate, you
talking
were
all
saying
about-
that your article had some different statistics on that, or
It's not the statistics. It's the history.
Ah.
So if you want me to go over that real quick.
yeah. If there's a difference in the studies, we want to hear both of them.
Michael, that sounds like they're trying to develop a challenge to gay marriage.
Yeah, it does.
This exact kind of case that they would want to use that for.
Well, basically, it states here that there is a growing call for marriage equality and same-sex marriage starting in the 1990s. I'm just kind of skim through this. The first state to legalize at the state level was Massachusetts in 2003. In state he's from coast to coast began striking down and passed bans and enshrining marriage equality in new laws. California famously achieved marriage equality in 2008, only to have it dismantled again, and by introduction passed as a prohibition in about Proposition 8, a ballot initiative that updated the state constitution to define marriages between a man and a woman. And that same year, it's basically going over that. Only a few years after President Obama declared DOMA unconstitutional and instructed the Justice Department to stop defending it in court. The Supreme Court advanced marriage equality through key decisions in 2013. And then finally in 2015, and it was legalized nationwide and recognized at the federal level. And this kind of gets into some of the stuff that this particular group did, but
Adoptions went up too.
Cool.
Yeah, the Newsweek article got into mentioning that further down. That no, now I don't know exactly where in the article it was, but yeah, that's saying the adoption rate went up, so you're getting more kids who would otherwise basically be living in foster care until they aged out, actually having families.
yeah, which tends to be most of them that go into the foster system, unfortunately.
Yeah.
What other statistic I remember, which goes directly to what I hope our potential is if come November we don't end up with a Nazi in the office. That before gay marriage, something like 35% of the people were flat out against it. This should not happen. And that has dropped precipitously. To the point where we have something like 3/4 of the people who stand behind us and believe that gay marriage is a proper thing to do, and basically refute everything that the far right is trying to do.
I remember before gay marriage was legal, and while the campaign was going on to legalize it, the people in my churches all saying that, hey, then they'll have to allow gay teachers to teach, and once gay teachers start teaching, they're going to turn all your kids gay.
Yeah, speaking about people switching in the positions, they also had politicians changing their tune over the years as they led from behind, such as Hillary Clinton. In 2008, she opposed same-sex marriage, but by 2014, she used in favor of it, except showing only if it was at the state by state case. And it was only until 2016 where she was in favor of it, of same-sex marriage overall, after it was set nationwide.
Yeah, well, I think mostly politicians usually follow the polls because they want to be, with the majority opinion.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying here. Is
Yep.
The lead from behind end types apes will just follow suit with. So with it being legalized nationwide, we also get that group putting their weight behind it.
Yeah, well, I think something that the Proposition 8 was a good example of is that we need more ballot initiatives, where it's a public vote on things, because anytime those things happen, the haters are in the minority. And also, when you have specific ballot initiatives, it drives greater voter turnout. More people will show up for a specific issue than will just show up for a general election.
One could argue that Proposition 8 was a black eye for the Mormon Church because they put all sorts of money behind it, and found themselves wandering into a discussion within the Mormon Church about gay, bisexual, and lesbian couples who are faithful Mormons. What do you do about them? Because church doctrine is adamantly opposed to anything but straight sex, heterosexual relationships, etc., and so forth. So, in a lot of ways, that not only did they lose the ballot initiative, but they wound up sparking a conversation within their own organizational structure about what to do about this idea. So, in a way, that I think that's positive. thing is, I really kind of worry because Obergefell is the only thing that's preventing some states from enacting laws prohibiting same-sex marriage, and I don't think it's not settled law any more than Roe was. As a matter of fact, at least two Supreme Court justices, Thomas and Alito, have promised to review it and overturn it if they get the chance.
Yep.
Michael Bell is saying that but right now the state employee retirement system defines an eligible spouse as opposite sex only. So I think he was saying Houston, so that's Texas.
Yeah,
Right.
I just pulled up the link on it. It is from 2015. When was same-sex marriage legalized?
2015.
15.
Yeah,
2015.
That
this
year.
might predate that. And probably what happened is possibly they never changed the rule, even though they can't enforce that. Oh, here's the link I was looking for.
And interestingly enough, the legalization of recreational weed was
Yeah, it's the
around
same thing I was-
2014. So that whole thing of a man should not sleep with a man, who should be stoned. Well, we got that all wrong.
Well, that did cause all those trans people to suddenly appear.
Well, I've always wondered what that burning bush actually was that, Moses chiseled out these tablets and thought he was the only one up there.
No, burning bush is all the redness you get after a Brazilian. Jeez, that was bad. Huh? Nobody responded at all? Oh, man,
I
I'm
did
getting
a
way
small
old, I guess.
did a small chuckle, but I
I
have
was
not had that
muted.
experience yet.
I was muted, Jenny. But
Yeah, well, I'm going to resign
That's-
anyway, so I'll show you.
I couldn't hear it all. All I heard was it's the redness you get after, and I couldn't hear the rest.
Oh, a Brazilian.
Oh, okay.
So how many people on the chat know a gay couple, and if you know multiple, type in how many couples you know. I'm just curious.
Does it count if you know them from interacting with them on Twitter or online?
Oh yeah, I think that's fair.
3.
Okay.
I don't have. I don't know how many then.
Yeah, I don't
Finding
have a
online.
specific count, but I would have to say for me that it's a couple dozen.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that for myself.
For me, it's only a few.
In real life, I would say maybe 3, 4, 5.
Oh, those gay people are so disgusting.
At least two. At least two that were. At least two I'm related to. So.
Michael says, I'm not gay, but my hubby is.
Well, we'll speak to you after the show.
In fact, I remember I was sitting there at it was Easter dinner. I was with my family and I was sitting there, going over. Okay, there's 22, or actually at the time there was 20 grandkids, including myself, and so statistically one of us should at least be gay. So this is really weird. And suddenly, I was just kind of thinking that in my head, and my cousin next to me saying, "I'd like to have kids, but me and my girlfriend," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
5 in my case.
Well, people are toning in here that we've got a couple of them right in our audience.
Mm-hmm.
I've also had
This is true.
over the years
Oh, it's
3
6,
people
7.
who came out on my channel as being the first public announcement that they were a gay couple.
Cool.
Well, I found out how one of my neighbors was gay when I was a teenager, I was hanging out with a bunch of other kids in the neighborhood, and one of them decided to be a little shit and climb up on my neighbor's boat. And he picked up a piece of cardboard and held it up. And goes, "What's this?" This and on the cardboard, what he didn't realize the thing says, "I am a homosexual."
Mm.
Okay, I kind of wonder
So-
why somebody had that sign, but
Well, I'm guessing you're probably doing some kind of pride thing or something on a boat.
Yeah.
So he had the sign on his boat to hold up.
I wonder if we could make any money if we made a sign for the hardware store that said "Danger, gaze afoot" or something like that. Beware of gay people.
But anyway, that's how I found out.
Jay-Z.
That's how I found out my neighbor was gay. And by the way, he was actually the nicest neighbor I have.
Well, that's true so often. I mean, gay people,
Yeah,
trans people are friendly as all fuck.
yeah, I
You
don't
know-
have anyone in my family who's admitting to it, but it's a large family, so statistically it seems improbable that there isn't someone.
Oh,
I went on a cruise and we had assigned tables, and there was a gay couple at our table, and there was also a Mormon couple at our table. The Mormon couple was never seen after the first night of dinner.
There you go. See, this is the thing that while we do have this broad acceptance of queer people generally in society, we also have that 20% that Mage was talking about that are just, what was the number that was absolutely horrified? It was like
19%.
15%, that 19%, 19% that think that it's an abomination against society and God.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily all God. So there I know atheists that are adamantly opposed and believe that homosexuality is an abomination to society. It sticks. It sticks with people, whether it comes from an initial phase of religious indoctrination and is a lingering after effect of that, or not, I don't know. But there is a tremendous number of people that are just solid, plain bigots.
Yeah, Godspeed, if you avoid people in general, you have found the right community. There's a significant number of people in our community who have the same opinion that you should just avoid people as much as possible.
I know that's how my penguin feels.
Like I was saying, I wanted to interact with the bigot so I could learn more about what makes him tick.
I don't know. There's a certain learning what makes them tick is fine, but
Yeah.
I'd rather make sure that they don't get into a position of power where they can make society tick the way they want it to tick.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there are two of those assholes are on the Supreme Court right now.
They're gay.
Yeah.
They just won't admit it.
A major thing with my late fiance was that she only started a relationship with me because even while I was publicly presenting as male, she always saw me as female.
Mm.
So she was a lesbian. She said that she never imagined that she would allow a man to be living with her.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, Jen.
So it seems that we have lots of stuff on the positive effects of gay marriage, and with all the doomsayers, has anything really negative happened to society from it?
Well, there's certainly a sect of the community of the religious community that would say that there has been. They claim that that divorce is higher among same-sex couples. They claim that same-sex couples are more likely to have multiple partners, and therefore, and thus are more likely to spread venereal disease. Those are the things that I usually hear.
I might be willing to grant that same-sex couples maybe are more likely to also be involved in polyamorous relationships, so they may have more partners.
I think they
wonder how
also
much
are
of
likely to have more partners because they're not into the whole purity thing that the conservative religious are.
Yep.
Beamsy put it more concisely than I would have done moments ago. It's citation needed. That may be what the religious anti gay marriage people assert, but do they have anything to back that up? That's my question.
No, they never
Right.
do. From any of their claims ever. And doesn't anybody notice that?
Well,
Every major
now-
thing that comes
fair
through,
question,
the
though.
Republicans end up on the wrong side of it.
Okay, now this is true. 100% of divorced people were previously married.
Mm-hmm.
See?
very true. The leading cause of death
And-
is life.
Life is sexually transmitted and always fatal.
Well, that's a pretty good one. I like that.
But along with the thing about, the conservative states having the most porn searches, and I don't have the citation, but I could ask Soros or Vice Rhino and get it because they've talked about it. That wherever the RNC decides to hold a convention, gay prostitutes flock to the city because they know that they will have majorly profitable weekends there.
Wow.
That there are more calls for gay prostitutes when the RNC is in town.
Yeah, Milwaukee's going to be a hopping place next month or whenever that is. They're having their convention in Milwaukee this year.
Let's see here. I did find a top 10 harms of same-sex marriage by a Peter Sprigg.
Sprig.
Okay, let's go down the list and see what we got there.
All right, let's see here. Taxpayer consumers and businesses would be forced to subsidize homosexual relationships.
Oh, no.
That's number one.
Actually, one of the biggest reasons that they're pushing for the legalization of gay marriage is because there are so many points in the tax code that favor married couples.
Oh, I have to go find a picture. I'm sorry.
Michael Bell gave us a link to the thing on that we
Oh,
were
yeah.
just talking about,
State
and
porn
I put it in
habits,
the
I see
private
that.
chat. Yeah.
Yep.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we
Yep.
can hear you.
Okay.
AJ, you
Want me to
said
keep
you were
going?
looking for a picture for something.
I just there's a meme I'm trying to find that I had that I just had to read to you guys.
Do you want me to keep going? Well,
Oh,
waiting?
do whatever you're going to do.
Yeah, go to the next point, and
Number-
Jenny will bring
number-
it up when she
number
when she
2.
finds it.
Schools would teach that homosexual relationships are identical to heterosexual relationships. The advocates of same-sex marriage argue that it will have little impact on anyone other than the couples who marry, and putting these in quotes, by the way. Whoever, even in the brief experience in Massachusetts, where same-sex marriage, quote unquote, is imposed by the state's Supreme Justice Court, or yada yada.
Okay,
I don't think I need to really. I don't think I need to really read into the paragraphs of crap he's got here. 3. freedom of conscience and religious liberty would be threatened.
Freedom of conscience. I don't even know what they mean by that, really.
Another important in me result of same-sex marriage would be serious damage to religious liberty. Where the hell? Professionals would face lawsuits or even the denial of licenses if they refuse to treat homosexual relationships the same as heterosexual ones.
No, that's not going to happen to your religion. Unfortunately, churches are still legally allowed to discriminate. You know, you can still kick people out of your church for being gay, but yeah, how many gay people want to belong to a church that would do that anyway? So it seems a moot point to me.
Oh, here's a good one that applies in contradiction to what we've been looking at in the before. Long-term effects: fewer people would marry.
Yeah, well,
I think one of the most
said that hasn't happened.
I think one of the most interesting things going on in the religious community right now is the schism over whether or not gay people should be allowed to, be members of the church, be clergy, be fully participating in services and so forth. There's a real divide between the churches that say, no, this is a sin. We can't let any members of the LGBTQ plus community be members of our church, and the other side that is embracing them and saying, you're people too, you're our God loves you too, and just watching all the infighting between them.
Okay, I think I see what he's trying to do. He's basically taking statistics showing a reduction in marriage for other reasons and applying it to same-sex marriage.
Yeah, well, what Granny was saying there about the churches is that the Pope is trying to straddle the fence now, because he has said that it's okay for priests to bless same-sex couples, but they're still not allowed to perform marriages for them.
And
I think 10 years from now they will.
5 here. Fewer people would remain monogamous and sexually faithful.
That's right, because if we were allowed to marry a person of the same sex, then we would all divorce our spouses and go marry someone of the same sex.
We'll be all polyamorous.
Everyone who claims to be heterosexual is a closeted homosexual.
Let's see, 6.
I think a lot of the people that spout this nonsense, it may be truer than you think.
I think there's a lot more people that are bisexual than will admit it.
Yeah. Here we go. 6. Fewer people would remain married for a lifetime. I'm guessing you thinking divorce rates are different, which I believe we already covered. It's pretty much the same in between same-sex and heterosexual marriages. So that's
I haven't really seen much on the statistics for the divorce rates.
Fewer children would be raised by a married mother and father.
What?
More kids would be raised by loving couples.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right. They think gender matters. I forgot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, as opposed to how many kids are being raised by a single parent?
Or by the state in foster care?
Yeah.
8. More children grow up fatherless. I can't even.
No, mathematically, it sounds like that works, but that doesn't mathematically. It just can't. If X number of children are going to be born to couples, but then you cleave off a part of that number of couples, there likely would be some that, just because of the same chances of everything else, that would end up in this now splintered off group. So that's just not a valid statement at all. It's completely illogical.
I'm trying to figure out number 9 here. Birth rates will fall.
Well, wait a minute. On that last one though, aren't some of the children who would grow up without a father in the house? Shouldn't part of that be balanced out by the ones who will grow up with two fathers in their house?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Well, no, come on.
But like I said, number 9, birth rates would fall.
Birth rates are falling. They're falling dramatically.
Yeah, but not for this reason.
Right. I know. They're falling for economic reasons.
Well,
It's
yeah.
the same with the what was the number? Which one was it? Few people remain married for a lifetime, or that'd be it's just pretty much same, or no, fewer people. Few people would marry. That was number 4. It was the same reason. But,
Okay, this meme I came across really answers all the questions we would have about gay marriage, much less or as well as.
okay. I still got number 10, but we can go do the meme.
Okay. I didn't know there was a list.
Yeah, the
Okay.
top 10 list here. We're going through 10, and the last one. Demands for legalization of polygamy would grow, which seems like kind of a same argument as 7.
Don't you think
Or,
it has?
What was it?
I mean,
Was
if
it
we
Rick San?
5 there.
Was it Rick Santorum who was all about marrying box turtles, or was that some other idiot?
Box turtles?
Yeah.
no, he and his wife kept the fetus from a miscarriage on their what do you call
There was
that?
some guy. Yeah,
On top of the
somebody-
fireplace.
I don't know why, but
on the mantelpiece.
I don't know why, but reading through that Godless Grain, I think that might be something you might want to do a video on, that list. So there's a link to it in the private chat.
Okay.
This seems like it'd be something up your alley.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jenny, you had your
Oh,
meme
yeah,
you wanted to share?
Okay, it's just a stupid meme I found out there, and it made me giggle heavily. But it's so true in a way. Okay, homophobia, the irrational fear that a gang of gay men will break into your home and completely redecorate.
Actually, if a couple of gay men wanted to come and redecorate my house, I would welcome them with open arms. I'm so bad at decorating; it's pitiful.
Oh, I haven't even gotten up past the point of organizing, let alone decorating. So
Mm. My brother characterized my house as early schizophrenic. I have some Asian stuff and some Egyptian stuff and some just
my
general stuff, but none of it goes together.
my more polite friends refer to my style as bohemian.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, I probably don't have any, two pieces that are from the same decade.
Mm-hmm.
So your house is a nice rhapsody? Okay, I'll just go and stand in the corner.
Yeah.
I found another thing. I don't have anything to upload for it, but another thing that the right wingers are starting to scream about, a new product that's on the market that are titled offensive crayons. and their names are what's offensive. For example, Lives Matter Gray, Travel in Brown, Me Color You Long Time Yellow. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, there was a
suspicious cold sore.
there was a kind of like a limited edition box that Crayola did that they called Flesh Tones of the World.
Yeah,
which
these aren't flesh tones.
yeah, yeah, but I thought that was kind of cool. Although I always thought they should have taken it one step further, and like gone with like a Star Trek theme of flesh tones of the galaxy.
That would have been neat.
All
Mhm.
colors for all the skin colors of the aliens.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Okay, in color, the purple one you should know then is name is LGBTQ LMNOP.
Well, I do hear a lot of people referring to it as the excuse me, as the queer alphabet or similar things like that. And yeah, that's 2 weeks from now. We're going to be getting into that about what other letters there are beyond the LGBT.
Lots and lots.
Yeah,
Oh, good. I'll get in trouble on that one.
And a few numbers and special symbols as well.
Oh, really? I mean, I know there's
There's one
there-
number.
no. Well, yeah, the one number. Was it 47.335 or am I thinking of that caliber again?
I remember that show. I used to love The Odd Couple.
Ooh, I hated that show. I'm sorry.
And even as a kid, I think I always had some part wondering, like what they'd be doing when the cameras were off. And of course, I thought Bert and Ernie were a gay couple too. So
They are.
Well, officially, the official announcement says they're not, but every indication says otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
You can't deny your history. Speaking of PBS, I watched a show that I've seen before, but it's been a while since I saw it. This being Pride Month and all, public television here, I imagine it's the same elsewhere, but I don't know for sure, are showing a lot of gay-oriented material dealing with one subject or the other. This one was about, let's see, what is it called? Yeah, you don't need to know the title. It's about mama bears. Mama Bears is this group that started out with a couple people in a kitchen, a couple mothers with trans children in a kitchen talking, and is now like I think I just read on their website they're like 500,000 people, and the whole thing of it is like just a worldwide support group for any parents of trans people.
I've not heard of them.
yeah, I will bet you that probably has aired in most states, but I can pretty much guarantee you it did not air in Georgia and Alabama. These are some of the states that blocked that one episode of Arthur that showed one of his teachers getting married to another man.
Oh,
Mhm.
that episode.
They're not men. Everything on Arthur is an animal.
Yeah, we won't get into the interspecies stuff here.
They're anthropomorphic.
Which just fits in with how upset Republicans get about furries.
They're anthropomorphic. We can use men and women.
Yeah,
How to
that's
freak out a
like one of the-
Republican go to Halloween party.
exactly.
Oh, these people are so sick.
Yeah, I kind of wonder what their take is on all the anthropomorphic food in commercials.
That seems like
Like,
Well,
well, if they
Tucker
have
lost
so
his
much
shit
spare-
over M&M's. Yeah, Tucker lost his shit over the green M&M getting sneakers and taking away her high heels.
that's right.
it's marvelous that they all have so much time to think about how other people have sex.
It really
Maybe they're
is.
just
And that's
maybe
what it
they're
comes
just
right down to.
wondering. Maybe they're just wondering how to get it right. I don't know.
They just want to be able to find the parts.
How can anybody hate Dino Nuggets? No, that's just wrong. You should lose your seat just for that.
I've never heard. I've never heard that.
You know, I must say though that one thing about dinosaurs, and I'm tripping on this last comment, but Republicans also, you know, many of the evangelical types think that dinosaur fossils are all fake and stuff like that. So, now I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, a guy was ranting and raving about dinosaurs, and the proof he offered that it couldn't be is to try to visualize two brontosauruses. I don't know what the actual name is. They changed the name recently. Two of them mating. It's not physically possible. And he had some amateur drawings about it to try to show.
There actually is some scientific arguments that exactly how they mated, but I think one suggestion was they basically went back to back. If you think about Dino Nugget, they're made of chicken, so that means they're made of dinosaurs.
That's true.
Well, as far as the dinosaurs, there was one. Oh, Stephen Jay Gould did a live presentation with his wife trying to reenact how that would work. Just imagining her one of her legs is the tail. And he demonstrated it would work, although a diplodocus would have a penis about 9 feet long.
Oh God. Well, there is that penis museum in, I think it's Norway.
Iceland.
Iceland.
Well,
Okay.
Yep.
Well, have you seen some of the crazy penises birds have? I mean,
Well, you know, the ducks and the corkscrew thing, yeah.
Have you ever seen a whale penis and how it dwarfs us? Oh, there's a hanger.
Because of Paula Gia and Shannon Q, Jackson Wheat did an entire video on whale penises. Because Shannon Q started cracking up and just basically daring him to do it.
Well, how can you discuss that?
Yeah, that was years back. That was before Shannon even had her own channel, when she was just appearing on Paula Gia's a lot.
well, just to be fair, your body needs a size ratio. Humans do tend to be on the larger end of the scale.
Well, some.
Yes.
So probably one of the more positive aspects of gay marriage is how it has made it more possible for people to be open about discussing whale dick.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, kind of getting back to the topic, I think that's one of the
You're
things
no fun.
that earlier on we were talking about the positive health benefits, is that the more people can be open, you know, that they've got less stress about having to hide their orientation.
Yeah, that's what was
Yeah.
I mentioned in that article I was reading.
Yeah. So that's definitely a very positive thing for people's mental health, especially, you know, if they're worried about social consequences like getting fired from their job if somebody found out they were gay. I have found out personally for me that, yeah, since I've been openly trans, it has significantly reduced my anxiety, my background anxiety level,
I imagine
to
it
the
probably.
point that I actually am starting to get some sleep now.
Yeah, I imagine it's
That's
probably
cool.
similar for somebody who's having to come out as gay.
Yeah, well, anybody who's had to hide a significant part of who they are.
It's a fun way to live. I recommend everybody try it.
Well,
Um,
also, if you can be out about who you are, it's easier to get dates.
Not necessarily,
Well,
but that's just me.
I said easier, I didn't say it was a shirt. I haven't gotten one yet either. But at least you don't have your friends setting you up with somebody of the opposite gender and not understanding why you won't go out with any of these hot people they introduce you to.
well, I know how it is having to keep your mouth shut about all that stuff with me surrounded with Trump supporter, Trump supporter, Trump supporter, Trump supporter, Trump supporter.
Yeah. Well, that's how I was in Michigan, was that just it was a town of 3,000 people with 25 active churches. And that's people were okay, but one of the first questions anybody asked was which church you go to. And if anybody had found out that I didn't belong to any of the churches, that would have been a major scandal for my family.
Too bad for them. I'm sorry. I'm pretty cold about these things.
Well, I don't have any animosity about my family. I'm not close to any of them either, but I don't want to be doing things that are stirring up trouble for them. Although that's kind of out the window now because, yeah, anytime I go back to visit now, people are going to notice a difference.
Maybe.
Oh,
one thing that has become a staple on Twitter is for people to collect pictures of MAGA people, especially if they're dressed up fancy at Mar-a-Lago, pretending they're all good people, and just how absolutely awful so many look with their just incredibly heavy makeup, and how they all look like the same Stepford wife over and over and over. It's bizarre.
yeah. Well, and that's like if you see any of the trad wife videos on TikTok or YouTube, it's the same thing, and it's like you can see that these are all women from at least relatively well-to-do families. So it's like I really doubt any of them are doing this on their own. I'm pretty sure all these women have a maid come in.
Yeah, speaking about Stepford wives, I remember going to a Chick-fil-A once, and all the people who were working there behaved like they're Stepford wife types. It was kind of creepy.
Yeah, well, that is a place that they do have to, because yeah, if they find out you're not towing the religious line, you probably won't be working there long. They'll find some reason to get rid of you.
Makes me want to go apply for a job at Chick-fil-A.
Well, I think we covered some good ground here. I think maybe we could wrap it up here at an hour today.
Okay.
So does anyone have any final comments they want to add? Or
Yeah, it's the same old story to us for the last 5-10 years, maybe even, with these people who are hating us, and that's all of LGBTQ, not just trans folks, but their efforts have been redoubled. They're still after us. They know that their movement is kind of on the wane, in the sense that Trump's convictions have really shattered his ratings. Don't believe what the Trump group has to say about it. Other professionals are going, oh man, they're fucked, and have indicators and polls and stuff that shows that. Anyway, don't give up the fight. It's still ongoing. It's still a question of life and death, and our opposition has their eyes are filling up with blood.
Well,
and they're looking forward to getting us.
I think the Republican primaries tell you something. That in states where Trump was the only name listed on the ballot, Nikki Haley was still polling around 10% of the vote.
Oh, yeah. You are right about that. Montana, just every incumbent guy who was in this primary they just had a couple of weeks ago, who was a Trumpian type, lost. They're gone. We don't want you anymore. You're gone. The Trump guys are getting kicked out by state people. Look
Yeah.
what's happened with abortion. Abortion that's been brought up. Every state's been brought up, and it wins.
Yeah, I think the Republicans way overstepped themselves, and it's really going to cost them in this election.
Yep.
Got to find the best way we can to get those 60% to stand with us, and
Yeah.
to make sure that the 40% doesn't get a shot again.
And we
Well,
definitely need everyone to go out and vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, after this year, if you want to just not vote ever again, fine. But this time, it's life and death.
No.
I doubt
Really?
that.
Metal
You're gonna be,
all the time.
I doubt you'll probably say the same thing in next election.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, don't just vote once every 4 years. Pay attention to the local elections, because that's where they dig in their foothold and they work up from there.
For a second there, I thought you were going to end that sentence that don't just vote once.
Well,
Well, that's a given.
I did grow up in the Chicago suburbs, and Chicago had the motto of vote early, vote often.
Mm-hmm.
I actually worked as an election judge down there a couple of years, and found a few irregularities. Like one of the registered voters turned out to be a dead parrot.
Aw, that's sad.
Yeah, it is. Fantastic, beautiful plumage.
Yeah, when they investigated, they found out the parrot had been dead for like 3 years and was still voting in every election.
He's not dead. He's just resting.
All right.
Okay. Granny, you have anything you want to plug? What's your next show going to be?
Well, I just finished a stream and I just put out a show next week. Oh gosh. I've got the script started for next week's show, and it's a doozy. It's a woman with focus on the family who's supporting conversion therapy, and she's a detransitioner, and she's every bit as awful as you might think.
Okay. Mage, I know you were
Joy.
talking about some scripts you're working on.
Yeah, I'm still working on that GMO script, but in the meantime, since that's going to be still a long ways off before getting that video out, I started working on a script for photosynthesis. Yes, and I was thinking maybe putting together something on fertilizer and compost. And of course, I also have a garden tour that I have filmed in the can that needs to be edited. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Stephanie, I know you tend to be more spontaneous, but do you have anything planned?
I've been doing stuff on the Transpositions podcast on Thursdays. I missed yesterday because I wasn't feeling particularly well.
Yeah.
The day before yesterday because I wasn't feeling particularly well.
I was wondering why
But,
you weren't on.
Yeah, I went to the greatest hits department. I came down with the COVID. Don't come down with the COVID. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, next Saturday on Women Atheists Unload on Skeptic Haven, Cynthia McDonald and Maya Atkinson and I will be talking about the doctrine of discovery and how Western notions of particularly racial slavery got going. So that's one thing we're working on. And then there's the Transpositions podcast. And if I think of anything to stick up on my horribly neglected channel. I probably will at some point in time, but I'm not sure what. I'm not sure when.
Hey, Kentucky, I was just about to mention you. Everybody, you got to catch Kentucky Atheists stream. Has said I haven't been to too many shows yet, but he seems to know his stuff. Good speaker and very interesting guest. At least last week, I'm sure there has been others.
Yeah,
I've only caught bits and pieces so far.
he's been interviewing people from the community for a while now. We do have one question here I feel I need to address. Clement Green is asking, what is polyamorous? And polyamory is just having more than one romantic partner at the same time. You know, and it is not cheating. It is situations where everyone involved knows what's going on and everybody is cool with it.
Like live-in swingers.
It can take a lot more work to have that kind of relationship, but some people are fine, prefer it.
Okay, now here I got one for you. How is that any different than what they do in the radical extremist Mormon parties that have some guy with 12 wives and all that shit?
Less communication, more dominance.
Well, also, generally they allow one man to have as many wives as he wants, but the women can never have more than one husband. You know, with polyamory, it's more of a balanced thing that everybody's allowed to have multiple partners and, within certain guidelines, which it is a very complicated relationship that you have to define with the people involved. There's no set formula for it. You just have to, talk it all through and find out what everyone is comfortable with.
It's not for everybody either.
It is a lot of work. One of the reasons I've heard for it being on the rise, though, is because these days, even with two incomes, people can't afford to buy a home. So with 3 or 4 people living together is the only way they can buy a house these days.
Mm-hmm.
I have a tidbit on that, even though it's a huge topic change for us here. I came across this just a few hours ago. A woman on TikTok who's in the business, real estate, rental business, all that kind of junk, writer about it. So I forget her details. Haven't rents been wonderful how they've gone up recently? She knows why. and well, I should say she knows the people who know why, and that they're investigating this one particular software company called Rental World or something dumb. It's a commercial software that evaluates your properties based on taxes from tax reports in various cities and stuff like that, not necessarily the actual person or quality of structure. Just whatever the person says they do this valuation on and recommend rental prices. 60% of the market is owned by corporate America. Did you know that? Rental properties?
I didn't
Yeah,
know
I
the
didn't know what the numbers were, but I knew it was quite a large amount.
Yeah. So basically, this one company dictates all the rental for the entire country, because whatever the corporate guys run it up to, the private owner will see that and say, "Oh well, then I'm going to raise mine," and does. And suddenly, supply and demand has disappeared. That there's no such thing, because there is actually a glut of houses or living space. Yeah. This is where all that's coming from, is that these guys will have, like, he'll own 100 houses, he'll take 20 of them and have them on the market as rentals and stuff like this, holding the others back. Well, then, as capitalism goes, the rent eventually goes up. Or for the new tenants in this building that's empty right now, they pay more than the people did before, and that's where your raises are coming from. Is the individual landlord is being a screw job for you, but they're just taking the hints from the big guys who are the real people who have just destroyed this market.
Sounds like another example of greedflation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For those of you who don't know what greedflation is, that's basically where corporations and companies are basically just jack up the prices is just because they can, and so it's artificial inflation of goods.
Yeah, the Canadian government has taken exception to that, and they have been grilling the CEOs of the major food distributors up there about why the grocery prices have inflated so fast.
Yeah, and they took the real situation of inflation with the pandemic and all the issues that came with that, and then just used that as an excuse to sneak in all this other stuff that had nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Or pick one thing to be the blame for everything else. Which of course is gas, because whatever gas goes, everything else goes.
Yeah.
And they've also looked at some price fixing that has been going on with the oil
Okay. Well,
conglomerate.
we had been wrapping up, and now
Yeah.
we're off on the topic of economics. So I think we need to close it out here. So yeah, we will be back next week at the same time here to discuss how to attract allies and how to be a good ally. And then Mage and Jenny and I will be here every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Time. Just kind of as general chat, but we'll find some interesting things to pick on. I always pick some random holiday.
I was going to model some new clothes on Wednesday.
So good night, and we will catch you all later. Bye bye.
Later.
Buy bonds.